I'd like to thank our speakers who really were very forthcoming in their response to our invitation. I think we're going to have a very informative evening. We're going to learn a lot, I hope. Of course, we can't learn everything about Sikhism in the short time, but I'm sure that our speakers will be able to give us a very good insight into aspects of Sikhism and the way of life and beliefs and um, the sort of spiritual and other aspects of any religion in general. I shall start by making a general introduction of our three speakers to start with, and then I will ask each speaker to um, give us his or her talk within a reasonable time, say 15 minutes or so. I will not take any questions at this stage, but I think at the end we will open the forum for a general questions and answers, and I think our speakers are very happy to respond and do their best to answer our queries. Um, so I'll start by the introductions, and as usual, ladies are first. So I will start with Baljeet, who is the daughter of Nirmaljit. Thank you very much, Baljeet, for coming, and I'm very impressed with your short but very strong uh, um, resume of what you do in life. You're a graduate in accountancy, but you have thrust yourself into politics, discussions, youth activities, um, and including the youth parliament and local councils. You take part in debates, and you're very active in other aspects of um, related to your Sikh background. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Um, and then I'll go to Bahadur, who is somebody I knew for some years now, nearly 5 years, Bahadur, wasn't it? Something, 4 or 5 years at least. He is now the chair of the independent advisory group of Surrey Police. This is how I got to know him, and he's conducted himself beautifully along the years I've known him, and I'm very happy that he is our chair now. Of course, the IAG, I'm still a member, but Jeff was a member at one stage, and of course the late, sorry, what's her name? Chinese lady, I forgot her name. Anyway, Bahadur came to this country in 1964. He studied in Yorkshire, became a television and radio um, electronic technician. He did very well, and then came over to Surrey and worked in Surrey University and also the police. And this is how we got to know him. He took up chaplaincy in a big way, and he is now very active in his work with the police, with chaplaincy, not only with the police but elsewhere, and also travels a lot to the Punjab, where he has certain activities over there as well. So we're very happy to have him, and I'm sure we're going to make good use of him. As for Nilmar Jean, again, a short but very strong life story. He is a Sikh chaplain, for the last 2 decades, he had been doing a lot of preaching about Sikhism internationally in schools, hospitals, Gurdwaras, and international conferences. And he is a presenter on Sikh issues on the media. So let's give them a clap, all of us, and thank you very much. A virtual clap, please. As I mentioned earlier, some of you may not have heard this, but um, Bahadur needs to leave a bit early, but not too early, I hope, but earlier than, well, we see how it goes. So for that reason, I would like to give him the first part of this program, And Bahadur, the floor is open to you. Please give us what you would like to tell us about Sikhism.
Evening all. Can you hear me all?
I can.
Thank you. Yeah. Uh, Thank you very much for inviting me to this tonight's session. I'm really honored to be here. And it's really, if we are going to talk about Sikh faith, then we need to really start looking at the history of the Indian subcontinent. Even before Guru Nanak Dev Ji revealed himself, because the seeds was already there when Guru Nanak Dev Ji revealed himself on earth. And that seed was planted by what we call the Bhakti movement. People from Indian subcontinent, they would be familiar with the names like Baba Farid, Baba Kabir, and other saints of that continent, who I think were divine souls. They brought the message of spirituality before Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And I'm sure that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who revealed himself in 1469 in the state of Punjab, which is north part of India, near Kashmir, towards Afghanistan, I suppose, and Iran. And when he revealed himself, and he obviously, like I said, he must have been inspired by the Bhakti movement already. So but the whole Indian subcontinent was in a turmoil. Religious people seemed to be religious, but they were not. They pretended to be religious, or they acted to be religious, but the reality was there was so much infighting between different faiths. And to make matters worse, the rulers of that time, the way they were behaving, and the cruelty under the name of religion, under the name of being kings and emperors, was phenomenal. You know, if we look at when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was on the scene and Babur invaded India, if we look at the history, it's absolutely tragic. It's really, really very, very sad. And therefore, Guru Nanak Dev Ji challenged all this. And one of the first statements that Guru Nanak Dev Ji made was that there is no Hindu and there is no Muslim. When we look at this statement, it's a game changer. Basically, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was saying is that the divisions that exist within us under the name of religion, under the name of faith, are diabolical. And I don't recognize the divisions because I see humanity as one. I see all humans are one, and we are all created by one creator. This was his mission statement, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's mission statement. And I think those people who were honest and sincere, and those people who could actually understand the sincerity in which Guru Nanak Dev Ji made the statement, they realized what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was saying, and what Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the message, the divine message which Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought on earth. And because Guru Nanak Dev Ji realized that the Indian subcontinent needed educating, Guru Nanak Dev Ji realized that India was under the banner of religion, under the banner of the rulers of different class, and to make matters worse, the caste system, which was present. It's present now. It has always been present in one form or the other, but in those days, it was really, really very, very bad. You know, if you look at the history, you read the historian version of events, then one realizes that what Guru Nanak Dev Ji done by traveling throughout the Indian subcontinent, traveling far and wide, and spreading the message of love, the message of peace, the message of total, utter clarity. And when we talk about clarity, obviously in Islam, our brothers and sisters and that faith accept that Allah is one, and there isn't anyone besides one Allah. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji went further than this. Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually defined what is Allah, defined what is Ram, and defined what is God. And I think that definition is on what the whole of the Sikh faith is based on. If one understands this definition, then one can understand Sikhi very, very well, because everything evolves around this. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji stated, and I will quote now, "Ik Onkar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirvo Nirvair Akal Murt Ajuni Sabhang Gur Prasad." Basically, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying in these words, and I will do a very brief introduction before I go any further, is that there is only one God. God is the supreme, true entity who pervades everywhere. When there was nothing, God was there. At present, God is there, and in future, forever and ever, God will be there. We'll come to that later, because that comes after the Mool Mantra. And God's divine command is everlasting. In other words, the decisions that God made are only He understands them. God is the creator of all. The subcontinents, galaxies, and we don't even know how many galaxies there are. We as a scientist, there's a limit to our knowledge, but there is no limit to the creator and his creation. I think we are the way I look at it in terms of what has happening in science is I think we are at the tip of the iceberg. We are just scratching the surface. To humanity, to universes, and to galaxies, and to other, there might be even more. I'm sure there are more suns, and this one sun that provides us with the light and with the life that exists in this universe. And there might be universes after universes. We don't know. God is devoid of fear and enmity. God does not fear anyone. God does not hate anyone. God is immortal, infinite, invisible. God is outside the cycle of life and death, beyond birth and death. That is for certain. Things we define, or we try to imagine God as human being. God is not human being like us. God does not, look the way we look. And our tragedy is that when we try to define God, we're trying to think about divinity, we think about faith, we think only in the terms that we understand. Because we human beings, we think God is like us. But I'm sorry, God is not like us. God is outside the cycle of life and death, like I stated. One attains God. How does one attain God? This is a crux of the matter. And this is really where the whole of the definition of the Mool Mantra really comes to really a boiling point. Well, God come is attained with the grace of the Guru. That is why Guru is very important in a Sikh's life. If there is no Guru in a Sikh's life, then one is not a Sikh. I'm sorry to say, it's totally, utterly blatant statement that Guru Nanak Dev Ji made, which we need to understand. And who is this Guru that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is talking about? Well, this is Guru Granth Sahib. This is what we define as Satguru. This is the knowledge contained in Guru Granth Sahib, the scriptures. And these scriptures, the beauty of these scriptures is that even before Guru Nanak Dev Ji, these scriptures were here on earth. Baba Kabir, Baba Farid, they brought these scriptures, the divine knowledge of Baba Kabir, Baba Farid, which is present in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. That is what I'm talking about. This is really very, very important that we understand. Like I said, in the middle, I quoted this, that when there was nothing, God was present. When there will be nothing, God will be present. and present. Obviously we feel God is present with us. Ah such, Jaga such, hai bhi such, Nanak Hosi bhi such. Guru Nanak Dev Ji putting his own seal to say for 100%, definitely there is no doubt about this, that when there was nothing, God was there. Allah, Paramatma. I want to make this very total clarity. It doesn't matter what names we give it, whether we call it Allah, Paramatma, Rab, doesn't matter. What matters is the definition which I've just given, because that is how we as a Sikhs define God. And that is very important for us to understand. And obviously, Guru Nanak Dev Ji on his journeys, Guru Nanak Dev Ji met people right, left, and center from different cultures, different faiths, different environment. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji on his journeys met what we call Siddhs. They were enlightened people. They were spiritually enhanced people, but they had missed the boat, like I would say, in terms of understanding the essence of a faith. In other words, they had actually left the villages and the towns and cities, and they were living in the outset of the Himalayas or in the forests and jungles. They were living outside the society. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, when he met them, they said, "What are you doing?" Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, "I'm looking for good Sikhs. I'm looking for enlightened people like you. But the tragedy is that you have left the society. You have left the people who need your help at this moment in time." And Guru Nanak Dev Ji had a long dialogue with them. I don't want to go into details on that. And exactly in the same way, Guru Nanak Dev Ji met other people, yogis. And when Guru Nanak Dev Ji met yogis, they were busy in their own life, and whichever way they led the life. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, and they were frightened, exactly like the Siddhs. They were frightened of facing life, facing living in villages, living with the community, and facing the issues of the community, the problems of the communities. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says to them, what we need to live is like a lotus flower. The lotus flower is in the pond, its roots are in the water, but it glows outside the water. A Sikh's life is like that. That is the way our life should be. In other words, we live in the community, we work in the community, we lead a life in the community, but yet we are one with divine. We develop our relationship with Allah, Paramatma, Vaheguru, God. And that relationship is so unique that one adopts, one lives a life like in the Mool Mantra. In other words, one does not fear anyone, one does not frighten anyone. One lives a life where you, as living on society, you are outside the cycle of life and death. In other words, you don't worry about death. You don't look towards heaven or hell. You live a life as present. You feel God when you're on earth, not when after passing away. Anyway, and this is really the essence. And the seeds which these saints planted, which our 10 gurus, Guru Nanak up to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they watered it. They made sure that the soil around this tree was sustains. In other words, it had the fruits, as it had the minerals, and it was all the roots, the bad things are not around it. The soil was looked after, watering and look after it. And this tree, by the time of our last Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, in 1699, this tree had become a massive tree. It became a tree to such a point that it had totally, utterly grown itself. And this is when Guru Khalsa Panth was revealed. And this is when the Guruship was passed to the 5 beloved ones. I know the time is passing. I've taken more time than I should have done, but I think I will wind this up by saying that Guru Khalsa Panth represents the Sikh faith. Guru Khalsa Panth is the Guru, as well as Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. And I say this, anyone who declares himself as a Sikh of the Guru, of the Satguru, then he has to bow to Guru Granth Sahib, live his life according to the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib, and be a member of the Trinity of the Khalsa, of the Guru. which Guru Gobind Singh Ji created. And at this point, I will thank you very much, Nabil.
Thank you very much, Bahadur. This was a very good introduction, and your talk was quite clear and understandable, and you presented the case very well. I would like to call on Mr. Nirmaljit to have his time to add or subtract from what we've just heard. Mr. Nirmaljit, can you hear me?
Yes.
You're muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mr. Nirmaljit, the floor is yours. You've heard what Mr. Bahadur has given us. Please see what you can do to add and clarify any other point, or give us your view on the same subject. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I am very thankful to the organization who has organized this event at the time when the world is fighting on the name of religion and countries. We are here together for peace. We are here together for blessing of God. I will talk about relation between humanity and Sikhism. I'm very thankful my senior Sardar Bahadur Singh. He gave great lecture and philosophy on Sikhism, the teaching of Guru Nanak. I will talk about the humanity and Sikhism. So humanity is the human race, which includes everyone on the earth. It's also a word for the equality that make us human, such as the ability to love and have compassion, be creative, and not to be a robot or alien. But when you talk about humanity, you could just be talking about people as whole. So in Sikhism, when we talk about Sikhism, the Sikhs believe in the oneness of humanity. Oneness of humanity. This is the belief that the all human are equal because they are all created by Vaheguru, God, Allah. Sikhs are also believe that God is present in every individual as Atma or a divine spark. This means that they believe all humans should be treated respectfully. Guru Nanak taught a strict monotheism along with the brotherhood of humanity. A succession of 9 gurus regarded the reincarnation of Guru Nanak led the religion during the period from Guru Nanak's death until 1539 until 1708. At that time, the functions of Guru passed to the Panth and to the holy text. As Bahadur Singh mentioned, Guru Granth, Guru Panth. The Guru Panth, Guru Granth mean the holy scripture, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and holy Panth mean the people who they are totally dedicated to the holy scripture, Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And consider the 11th Guru, Panth refer to the path to salvation obtained by using Guru's advice or word. More recently, it's used for describe the worldwide Sikh community. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the central religious text of Sikhism and the considered by Sikhs to be sovereign of Guru of the religion. It's an extensive text compiled and composed during the period of Sikh Gurus from 1469 to 1708. The text remains the holy scripture of the Sikhs, regarded as the teaching of 10 Gurus and the Hindu and Muslim saints. It is, however, more than just scripture, since the Sikhs treats the Granth, the holy book, as their living Guru. The text spans 1430 pages and contains the words spoken by the founder of Sikh religion, the 10th Gurus, the Gurus of Sikhism, and the words of various figures from other religions, including Hinduism and Islam. Guru Nanak, who often described as a humanistic, taught a message of love. It has been said that he saw God in humanity, and that is true sense. His religion was humanism. His view was universal God, common to all humankind, no limited to any religion, nation, race, creed, color, and gender. The Institute of Sikh Studies has stated that a Sikh is pledged to his religiosity, active in social life, aware of justice, and is responsive to any injustice done by anyone. It is this supreme ideal which the Sikh gurus in all their humanistic jail have given to their Sikhs. Human rights and social justice from a pillar of Sikh beliefs.
I've been trying, I can't hear the damn thing.
Have you got an external speaker, Jeff?
As I'm saying, human rights and social justice form a pillar of Sikh beliefs, and Sikh history features many examples of Sikh gurus and their followers making countless sacrifices for the cause of religious freedom and justice. Guru Nanak was born in society was divided based on the religion, caste, and gender. As Bahadur Singh said, those labeled upper caste, middle class, and lower class. In Triggs was opposite chalk society, women were treated as inferior, subservient to men. Religious leader and the priestly class exposes people devoid to God and misguided them their own selfish reason. Guru Nanak received divine revelation and the founded Sikhism and newly religion. The word Guru in the context related to the being the messenger of God. The Guru means who give us the enlightenment of true knowledge. Enlightenment. Guru Nanak's message related to the many important aspects today's society, including love and caring for one another, service to the humanity and helping those in need, justice for all, taking a stand against the enemy of society, and freedom to expression and practice of one's religious belief. Guru Nanak said all the human beings, the children of the same one creator or one divine, the same divine or God, living within everyone. Examples of humanity and service in Sikhism, the langar, where everyone sits together, eat meal without any discrimination of religion, ethnicity, national organ, gender, social status, race, caste, of any other divine. The ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, who was sacrificed his life that Hindu could freely practice their own faith. And the Guru Granth Sahib says, it's a prayer for everyone. If a beggar cries out of a door, the master hears in there his mention, whatever receive him and purpose him away, it is the gift of the Lord's greatness. Recognize the Lord's light within all and do not consider social class or status. There is a no class or caste in the world hereafter. This is the quotation from Guru Granth Sahib. The belief that the human are equal effect who Sikhs treated people. Everybody is treated the same, whatever their gender, age, status, or faith. So I will give an example from the Sikh history, then I will finish my talk. Bhai Ganaiya, one of the Sikh at the time of 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he was serving water to the Sikhs at the time of war. He was serving water to the Sikhs. And but in the war field, he was giving water to everyone without recognize he is an enemy or he is his side. He's giving water to everyone. And when the Sikhs saw, Sikhs complained Bhai Kanhaiya Ji about Bhai Kanhaiya Ji to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he is serving water to the enemies. This is not good. He's one of the in the side of enemies. Guru Gobind Singh called Bhai Kanhaiya Ji and asked him, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji, why are you sharing water with the enemies? And then Bhai Kanhaiya Ji says, yes, my Guru, what they said is true, but Maharaj, I saw no Mughal, no Sikh on the battlefield. I only saw human being. And Guruji, they all have the same God spirit. Guruji, have you not taught us to treat all God's people as the same? And that time, Guruji was very happy and replied, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji had understood the deep message of Gurbani correctly. Guruji smiled and asked Bhai Kanhaiya Ji, you are right. You have understood the true message. And then he continued and told the Sikhs that Bhai Kanhaiya Ji has understood the deeply message of Guru's teaching. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji asked him from today not give the water to the everyone in the battlefield, but you have to serve them the medicines. And Sikh believe this happened in 1704, and this was the foundation of Red Cross. A Sikh always believe in treat equally to everyone. We fight hundreds of years in India, and after that in First and Second World War for the humanity. Sikh finished his prayer with Nanak Naam Chaddi Kala, Tere Pane Sarbat Da Pala. I'll give you the meanings which can be translated. Nanak asked, name of God, with which comes well-being, happiness and positivity, spirit, and with your blessing. Lord, may everyone in this world prosper and be in peace, or can be. This is the message of Sikhism. The every prayer of Sikhs is finished with the goodness of human being. And we are working worldwide because in India we are 2%, but whenever there is any crisis, we are serving for the humanity. Even in UK, even in worldwide, there is some Sikh charities. They are working without any discrimination. They serve to the humanity as a message of Guru Granth Sahib. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Nirmaljit. Thank you very much for this added expression and expansion of the understanding of Sikhism up to now. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Baljeet, and I hope we're going to get that women's perspective now. Am I right? Let's try. Please.
Thank you for having me here today. So I will be focusing on women's equality and Sikhi perspective of it. I want to start from a quote from Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which is our holy scripture. It says, "Why call her evil who gives birth to the world leaders? From the woman is born woman, without the woman there is none." So the concept of women equality in Sikh faith has played an important role since the time of Guru Nanak, our first guru and the founder of Sikhism. There are many concepts which makes women's position crystal clear and I will talk about some of the concepts which elevated the position of women in a highly oppressed society in those times. I'm going to start with the meaning of equality. Equality doesn't mean being same. Equality means being the state of equal, having equal rights, having equal opportunities, and having equal status. And all these three things were not actually in the society, pre-Guru Nanak society. Our third Guru, Guru Amar Das Ji, was very well convinced that no teachings can take root until and unless they are accepted by women folk. So because of this, he introduced 3 women priests, and they went around Eastern countries, around India, countries like Afghanistan, Iran, to preach Sikhism, to preach the way of life, to how to walk on the path of spirituality. This is the society when women were considered inferior and were treated as a property by men. And in those times, women were actually considered distraction to man's spiritual path, because it was considered that woman is incapable of having her own spiritual journey. This was on the basis of the belief that women must be reborn as a man in order to take on a spiritual journey. So talking about a culture of India in 1500s, which highly segregated society on many bases, as my eldest talked about, there was caste system, there was social class differences, gender differences, a lot of differences going on in the society. That was the reason there was a need created in the society for the guru to be so pro-women. I want to talk about the concept of sati, which meant that once the husband dies, a wife, had to burn herself while her husband's body was getting burned. She had to throw herself and get burned alive. This was the concept in 500 years ago, before Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And the concept had a meaning that wife became baseless, useless, and husband gone, religion finished, no need to exist. Why? Because at that time, women's religion was considered to be her husband, to serve him, to offer herself to her husband. That was the only religion of a woman. So there's Guru Nanak Dev Ji and for Guru Angad Dev Ji and Guru Amar Das Ji, they raised their voices against this and they said, no, this is not right. And the fact is, this only became illegal in India in 1988. And our gurus actually said this 500 years ago, that this is wrong and it should be banned. This is why this shows us how advanced our gurus were and how advanced a Sikhi is. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was sitting in between scholars, and there were people just like us. They were sitting and they were asking questions to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And the question was asked, why are women seen below men? And why are they always degraded? Before Guruji even answered, so-called scholars said, oh, women actually doesn't contribute to the society in any way. She's just useless. She doesn't do anything to the society. So Guruji replied, and it's an amazing answer. They said, it's quoted in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it said, why condemn her who gives birth to every great human being? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji shocked the entire society through preaching that women were worthy of praise and equal to men. It's also stated that women and men, all by God are created. All this is God's play. Says Nanak, all the creation is good and holy. This includes that everyone in this world is holy because God created them and God is holy. So God's creation is holy. That's why women's intelligence is not doubted in our religion. Rather, it's very highly graded in our religion. I want to talk about who was the first Sikh. So we know that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was the first Guru. But who was first Sikh? First Sikh was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's sister. Her name was Bebe Nanki Ji. And she was a woman and she was the first Sikh. And I, as a woman, feel very proud to say this. She played a very important role in encouraging Guru Nanak Dev Ji on his spiritual path. She was the first person who saw his divine light and encouraged him on the path of spirituality. So I want to talk about the concept of soul bride in Sikh faith. As we talked about the sati concept, and I said wife's only religion was to serve her husband. So I want to see how our gurus took that concept and showed us the way to use that concept towards God. So Gurbani describes how we all are soul brides. Humans have been equated to as a female gender, in this sense that we are all in the same line, we stand equally. Gurbani redefines the concept of women personality in this way. So every single person who wants to be on a spiritual journey must adopt feminine characteristics. This is because women offers quality, love, kindness, and compassion. Kindness and compassion are two core values of Sikhism. So the quote from Guru Granth Sahib Ji on this is, in this world, there is only one man. Every other is his female bride. He is invisible and indescribable, but resides in all of us. So Gurbani goes one step further in saying that there is only one superior entity, and that is the creator. And so if society wants to accept men as superior, then Gurbani takes the position that in that case, there is only one male. There's only one man, which is the creator. That's why Gurbani gives concrete evidence on favoring gender equality. It says, in creation, I see no duality. In women and men, his light shines. In all of us, we have the same light. So there's no need to distinction or discriminate between men and women. This one verse that in all of us one light shines actually shatters the pre-1649 misconception that women cannot achieve spiritual heights and she must be reborn as a male to do so. So this is actually a concept used for us humans to understand how we should offer ourselves to God. Like a wife offers everything to her husband, Guruji is saying that we as humans are bride to that God and we should offer ourselves in the same way. But I want to clarify one aspect, as Bahadur Singh Ji said, that God does not have any gender. So this concept was only used for us, our human brain, to understand. Ultimately, the gurus do not consider God to be male or female because God is Ajuni. Ajuni means unborn. That's why stating that God belongs to neither gender. So as a Sikh woman has equal rights to Sikh man. Unlike other faiths, no post in Sikhism is reserved solely for men, and she is not considered a subordinate to a man. So I want to talk about Sikh Baptism, which is Amrit ceremony, is open to both genders. The Khalsa nation, as my dad mentioned, the Khalsa nation is made up equally of men and women. And this is why a Sikh woman has the right to become a priest. She can become Panj Pyare, which is 5 beloveds who offer baptism in the Gurdawara. She has the right to do any seva, be part of any job she wants to, religious-wise and outside-wise. So after taking Amrit, after getting baptized, that woman or male, everyone becomes the direct descendants of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, who was the 10th Guru, and Mata Sahib Kaur, who was wife of 10th Guru. So if we are baptized, we have to consider our 10th Guru as our father and his wife as our mother. So from the day you are born till the day you die, your name, your surname remains the same. As a woman, that's a really big thing because I don't actually have to change my surname due to marriage. Because once I become baptized, I am daughter of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, which means I have a surname of Kaur. And men have surname of Singh. So by not only gaining independence, but getting rid of the fact that women needs to be adopted by a father or husband. Although my talk is on elevation of women, we can also look how this gets ridden of a caste system. Raising the position as a woman through Kaur has double benefit, gives independent rights, and also gets rid of the low caste system. So I'm going to talk about how Sikh women were also cast into the role of saints and soldiers, just like Sikh men. They could organize men and lead them in the battlefields for the freedom of people and their human rights, which are the core values of Sikhi, that humanity comes first, fighting for injustices comes first. I want to give an example of my Bago, who was actually bodyguard of 10th Guru, and she assisted the 10th Guru in many battlefields. There are actually many examples about Sikh women who did great work during those years, but because of short span, I'm just going to focus on three. So first one was my Bago, who was a bodyguard of a 10th Guru. I want to talk about Rani Sadakaur. Rani means queen. She was well versed in the affairs of state and commanding her soldiers in the battlefield. She was a very shrewd lady, she had a very thorough grasp of statecraftship and was a famous Sikh leader during that time. And this is recent history. This is a time of between 1800 and 1900, during the time of British rule in India. And she was the mastermind behind Sikh Empire. The king of Sikh Empire, she was mother-in-law to him, but she was actually an ally of him. She advised him and encouraged him taking certain steps that made Sikh Empire successful. And the important thing here is that that is the time when women weren't even considered to have equal rights. But Rani Sadakaur was actually in a political position and was a commander in the battlefield, which means that how strong would she be? She didn't really manage to be good, but she mastered those skills. So I take an inspiration from her that just be master at something, whatever you do. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Princess Sophia Dalip Singh, whose godmother was Queen Victoria. She was daughter of Maharaja Dalip Singh, and she was granddaughter of the King Nirmaljit Singh, who I just mentioned earlier as well. She played a really important part in women's rights from the start of 1900s, from being part of No Tax, No Vote movement. She was member of Women's Social and Political Union. And I think she played a really, really important part in bringing women's rights in England. And so therefore, she was a committed campaigner for women's rights. I just want to sum up this by saying Guru Nanak had preached equality and respect for women folk, and the Guru's observation in favor of women went a long way in getting them an honorable status and a share in the various fields of life. So just 500 years later, the rest of the mankind is only now realizing this fundamental truth that men and women are actually equal. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji said this 500 years ago. So I hope this gave you an insight of the concept of women's equality in Sikhism.
Thank you very, very much. And I'm I'm expressing my gratitude to the three speakers, and I'm sure that we've come out of the three talks with a good idea of what Sikhism is about. And the floor now is open to questions. I have one question that has been recorded. Oh my God, I have so many questions.
Oh, I've only got one.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm doing the wrong.
Nabil, I think Jackie's going to help you with questions.
I've got a question on the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
From
you take the questions.
There's only one really. There's one from Kaur who's saying, "Can you please explain the differences among Sikhs? What are the main differences?" I don't know who to address that to. Who would you suggest?
Maybe we can start with Bahadur because he might have to leave any time now.
Yes.
Bahadur, can you find an answer to this one?
Did you hear the question, Bahadur?
Yes, I did. And like in any gathering, in any community, people hold different point of view. But the main, the thrust, the mainstream of Sikhi, what I would call, is the concept of Guru Granth and Guru Panth. And like I said in my presentation, that anyone who does not adore to this concept of Guru Granth and Guru Panth, he can call himself a Sikh by all means. We can't stop people calling whatever they want to call themselves. But the acid test is a belief system that one has to believe in that. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Like in any community, there are divisions, there are different points of view, and Sikh faith is no different. And obviously, even at the time of Guru Nanak, the establishment at that time, they stoke the fire of division. Guru Nanak's own children were not the Sikhi followers. They diverted, into different faiths, different belief system, and other gurus' children did the same sort of thing. So it's inevitable, and people who resent the philosophy of Sikhi, they would always, find create divisions. They would find excuses. Especially the establishment, especially the people who I mean, look at it. From time of Guru Nanak up to now, 500 years ago now, and Guruji made abundantly clear that there is no space for caste system. And yet, if you look at India now, there is more caste is more stronger in India now than it was at the time of Gurus. How can we justify that? How can, so we don't live in a perfect world, and we have to address the issues. And
sorry, Bahadur, is there no organized sectarianism within Sikhism? That, I think, is the interest in the question. Is there any organized sectarianism like there is in other religions, for example, Catholicism and Anglicanism, or Shia and Sunni and things like that? Is there any organized?
The simple answer is yes. The simple answer is yes.
Okay. And is there any major difference between them?
No, trivial.
And do they talk to each other and commune with each other?
Well, they do and they don't.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to other questions. Any other question, please?
There are none actually on the chat, but if people want to put their hands up, maybe.
Yes.
Question.
You can wave at me or put your hand. Yeah. Okay. Leonard, you've got your hand up.
You've got to unmute.
Leonard, unmute yourself.
There you are.
What I would be, well, is there were three very interesting talks, but I think one that I found most interesting in the sense that I found it most surprising was the discussion about women being equal to men. That is not the impression that I think we've got. Perhaps I was the only one who wasn't aware of that. But I just wonder, is that generally the scene here in the United Kingdom? I mean, we are aware of the various outward displays which men have to have, or ordinarily have, perhaps have to, is too strong. But I'm not aware of anything similar in the case of women. And I just wondered whether there is some equivalent there.
I think this is for Nirmaljit or Baljeet, whoever would like to answer this. Please, Nirmaljit.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I leave, please?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Bahadur. We're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for asking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the question from Leonard, will Nirmaljit kindly consider answering it?
Can you please briefly question, what is question? Explain briefly.
Leonard, can you summarize your question again?
Sorry, what I was saying was that I thought the thing that I found most surprising in the three talks we heard was the equality between men and women. But it's perhaps I may be the only person in this gathering who wasn't aware of that, because it doesn't appear to be the case in the United Kingdom. And at least one sort of sub-question which I had within that is, we are all aware there are various symbols that the men wear, but is there anything corresponding for the women that we would be able to pick out a woman Sikh in the community in the way that we can with a man?
Baljeet, can you give answer?
Yeah. So as you can see that I'm wearing a turban as well, and I actually wear 5Ks just like men. So I am baptized as well, same way my dad is, my brother is. So there is actually no difference. Your question was in the UK. We have same rights. One thing I want to clarify is sometimes there is confusion between Punjabi culture and Sikhi culture. Punjabi culture can be a little backward, and it can talk about women not being equal, but Sikhi culture never talks about women not being equal. Any Sikh, any baptized Sikh you would meet, Gurus, because this is our Guru's teaching. If we don't follow the women's equality, that means we are actually not following our Guru's teaching. And like Bahadur Singh ji said, if we don't follow the Guru's teaching, how can we call ourselves Sikhs? So if anyone who is following Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the teachings of 10th Guru will say that we are part of, there is women equality basically. And my dad is wearing turban and I'm wearing turban, and I go to the Gurdawara, I have all the same rights as well. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Baljeet. Any other question? I have one, if that's all right. And my question is this: does the Sikh scriptures, and by the way, I have a very high regard for these Sikh scriptures. They are highly spiritual, and I have an access to a lot of them in English, and I'm very happy that I've got this access. But the question I have is, where does Sikhism lead? I mean, we always knew that there is some sort of succession in religions, whether it's from Judaism to Christianity, Christianity to Islam, and so on. Is there anything of that kind in your Guru's or Guru Nana's prophecies or in the scriptures?
It's a very good and important question. In Guru Granth Sahib, there is a mention, God asked Guru Nanak to pass my message. But at the time of Guru Nanak, there were two main religions in India, Hindu and Muslims. So Guru Nanak teach both of them. who they accept the teaching of Guru Nanak, they become Sikh. According to Holy Scripture, God directly asked Guru Nanak to pass my message to humanity.
Thank you.
I can add to this question. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji, our 10th Guru, started the baptism for Sikhs, he mentioned that he is passing on the succession to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So our physical gurus we wouldn't have, but we will have the writings of all the gurus that we will need to apply in our lives. And they also mentioned that all the Khalsa, people who are baptized, when they sit together, that's where the Guru is present. So they passed on that presence in Khalsa Panth. So people who get Amrit, baptized, they are part of Guru.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, please.
I don't have a question, but I'd like to make an observation, if I may. And that is, in recent years, it has been very clear that Sikhs have been helpful to those in need, and especially when we had floods in the northwest, and in recent times with food banks stretched to their limit for looking after those in need. There are Sikhs doing those things, cooking food for people who are finding life rather difficult at the moment. And I think that sort of demonstration leads me to believe that the Sikh religion is aware of those who are less well off than the majority, perhaps.
Thank you very much.
Can I add, please, that the Sikhs, apart from being so entrenched in humanitarian activity, they are also very good fighters. They have been part of the bulwark of the British armed forces during the 2 world wars.
Indeed, yes.
Not only the Second World War, but certainly even the First World War.
Yeah.
Once they commit themselves to battle, they are fearless fighters.
Sacrificed more than 85,000 Sikh soldiers, and more than 100,000 were injured in First and Second World.
Does that explain the token knife, dagger that you keep in your body, on your body nowadays?
Yes, I'll show mine, and Baljeet is also wearing. We all wearing, and this is small sword. This is we are saying kirpan. Kirpan mean the bless and the yours self-respect. So this is the symbol. I am saint warrior. I'm doing meditation and I'm securing the society.
I'm very interested that women have the same. I didn't realize that, so we'd better keep our distance.
No need of keep distance. You will feel secure in the presence of Sikh.
You will be defending us.
That's good.
Yeah.
I want to share with you this kirpan is also allowed in prison services.
Yeah.
I can wear inside the prison, inside the local flights, even in the parliament. This is rewarded by the British government for our sacrifice for this country.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Carolyn.
Yeah, I'm intrigued about the Sikh women being baptized and wearing turbans. I haven't seen many Sikh women with turbans over the years. We've had lots of Sikh friends. So What percentage of your ladies would be baptized?
It's not any exactly percentage, but the main thing is a baptized women have to cover her head.
Uh-huh.
It's not necessary, but it's their choice. They can wear or not, but they have to cover their head.
Okay.
Some of them are just wearing scarf,
Yeah.
but some they want to wear like turban, like my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Nilmar, I know that men will keep their hair all the time. They don't cut it, and this is why they cover it up. But do women also keep their hair all the time? They don't cut it as well.
In a Sikhism, code of conduct is same for men and women and for everyone.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Any other questions?
there is some confusions I want to explain you in a minute.
Sure.
Some Sikhs are practicing Sikh. They are baptized. They have uncut hair. They have turban. They are wearing 5Ks. Some they are not baptized. They are just wearing turban and uncut hair. And here, the most of population of Sikhs, they are cutting their hair. They are not wearing turban. They are not baptized. So whenever you see, their name will be Singh, but they are not having turban and uncut hair, the long beard like me. But we are trying to teach them, we are encouraging them to become a practicing Sikh, like in other religions.
Yeah. Okay, any other question? Right, I would like to just say a few words to summarize what we've heard. I'm not going to get it all right, but I'll make it. I think we were very pleased to learn several interesting points about Sikhism. Number one, that they make a very good distinction between the human existence and the divine entity, and that we are never going to be able to understand the divine entity that is God within our limited human abilities. We've heard the total equality in humanity. Humanity is one, creation is one, and there may be even other universes, but nevertheless, in this universe, men and women of all kinds and creeds are equal in the eyes of God and in the eyes of the Gunana. We have heard about the equality between men and women, and that equality does not mean uniformity, but it means equality in rights and privileges, and the status of woman being really quite high up in society. I think I was very taken by the spiritual nature of the talks we heard, and the answers to the questions were also very interesting indeed. And so I wish to end up by giving Margaret the last word. Where's Margaret? Oh, there she is. Margaret, would you like to take over, please, and end
That's
the
dangerous to ask me to take over, isn't it? Well, I would like to thank Bahadur, Baljeet, and Nirmaljit Singh. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing your name as well, but but I do apologise for that. But you know who you are. I think what I was amazed was that the start of the conversation was that the seed was already sown. And that is so powerful if you think about it, about creation and everything, but the seed was already sown. I think for the Sikhs, people are people, not necessarily male or female. They're people, so there's equality. I know they are extremely valued in all communities because of their generosity, their friendship, and open arms to everybody. But it's always a great value for us to be able to have such special speakers come and talk to us. We're not a large group tonight, but it's quality rather than quantity, I always say. And Elmbridge Multi Faith is so much the richer for having heard you talk. We are doing a program this year about the various faiths and religions which are within our communities, for us to have a better understanding, so that we also can live in more harmony, because that is the aim for all, for us to love one another. And another thing that I noticed was how similar, when we're talking about your beliefs, creeds and everything else like that, how much they link with all faiths, because I think all faiths have one God. They believe in the one God that is omnipotent. He never has a picture, he never has a face, but his followers do. Whatever the name of the followers are. I mean, ours is Jesus for the Christians, you know, so we all have the face that way, but actually the God to whom we aspire is that loving Father, that loving, kind person who forgives. And just for you, it was good to hear how you are living the world you live today. And that's what you need to worry about. You don't need to worry about death and after death, but you worry and spread good whilst you are on this human life, on the earth today. So thank you very, very much. I'm sure everybody agrees it's been a wonderful evening and such valued speakers, and we thank you enormously. Thank you.